Bonsoir, muckers. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for clicking on my video. I appreciate you being here. Okay, today we're talking about one of my favorite creators, and there are not many favorite creators that I have left on any social media platform. So this is a standout video. We're talking about someone I actually really like, and that is Julien. You know, I love Jenna and Julien so much, and they really did raise me on this platform. I love them so deeply, and I know that Julien is live on Twitch all the time, and that's where I catch him now. But when I say that Jenna and Julien, like, to me, I just love them both so much. And obviously, as we're aware, in 2020, Jenna Marbles left the internet. By the way, she was not cancelled off the internet, which pisses me off, by the way, that people still say that. Jenna Marbles, as much as I love her, chose to leave the internet. And I think if you're a Jenna Marbles fan, it was very clear that she wanted to leave the internet for a while and made the decision to make a video where she sat down, she played some content she had made that was problematic and said, I don't stand by this anymore. I want to take time off the internet and think about what I'm putting out there. And people were like, oh my God, cancel culture got Jenna Marbles. No, Jenna Marbles wanted to leave for a while. It was very clear in her content, and that was the decision she made to leave the platform. So let's stop that conversation about cancel culture taking Jenna Marbles, because it was never the case. And I actually think it was a real standout way to leave the internet. I mean, she talked about her time online. She talked about things she did that she liked, things she didn't do. I have a lot of respect for Jenna Marbles. And Julien has obviously still been in the social media world since Jenna left. What was that, like 4 years ago now? 3.5, 4 years ago. You know, he's mainly on Twitch now. And he doesn't really talk about Jenna, nor does he have to. But he does give some updates here and there, basically saying that, you know, she is volunteering at dog rescue centers. She's just doing really well. She's living her life off camera, and she has a basketball game tomorrow, which I've heard as well, which is great. But also, they're two very different entities on the internet, and I'm glad that people respect that and don't kind of force Julien to talk about Jenna or whatever. But Julien has opened up about his struggles with being online, and I actually saw that Peter Mon talked about this, and I normally catch up with Julien's Twitch streams on the delay. So this is my first time seeing this, but I saw that he had re-uploaded it on his YouTube channel, and it's called Talking About Quitting YouTube. And I watched the first couple minutes of it, and I stopped it and was like, you know what, we're gonna go through this together and talk about it. Julien opens up about basically where he sees his career going, and talks about this concept of burnout, basically the same thing that Jenna had that he's now feeling, and definitely alludes to all of his peers that are leaving the internet. I don't know if you're seeing this, but there are so many OG YouTubers that within the past couple of weeks have made videos saying, au revoir, I'm out of here. And it's basically sparking a big conversation with these OG YouTubers, and I want to hear what Julien has to say, so let's get into it.
You seem tired of gaming a little recently. That's how it goes. Yeah, I don't know. That's how it goes. I don't think it's 100% gaming that I'm tired of, to be honest. I think it's like a combination of things. The forefront of the content here on Twitch is definitely gaming, but being online and being on for the hours that I stream has been a struggle. And when I'm like struggling to keep my tank at a minimum to even like get the energy to go through stream, I think everything that happens on stream is gonna feel that, is gonna like I don't know, refract that energy. So yeah, gaming for me has been a little bit whatever lately. Yeah, no, I think one of the issues that I'm going through is filling up my
I know, by the way, when we watch this, everyone here, for the most part, is going to get what he's saying here, but I am very aware of the fact that there are probably people that are watching this that are going, what the hell? Someone's talking about gaming, burning them out. Someone's talking about filming YouTube videos, is burning them out. Someone is talking about, and here's the thing, I saw Peter talk about this as well, which is these people are performers. They're on, that word that he used, and Peter made the reference of reality TV stars. You know, they're on. You may love the show that they're on, but they are performing, and they are on, and they're providing you with entertainment, and that is a job at the end of the day, or a singer or something like that, right? And I think that it's very easy to look at what a YouTuber or even a TikToker or a Twitch streamer does and be like, easiest job of all time. And here's the thing, compared to hard labor jobs, absolutely. Doing what a YouTuber does, a Twitch streamer does. I mean, I've done TikTok, I've done YouTube, I've done Twitch streams where there was a time period where I was doing 10-hour Twitch streams a day. Like, I get it. However, I am also very aware of the fact that my brothers work a lot harder than me and that my parents work a lot harder than me. You know, their jobs are way more demanding than what I do, which is deemed a job. I'm very sympathetic towards that and I'm very aware of that. And it's a very hard place as a content creator to complain about what you do because everyone will always write it off as shut the fuck up. You have it very easy. And here's the thing, in most aspects, being a content creator is a very, 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 very easy job. I also don't think it's unfair, though, that people aren't allowed to talk about their job and be open about it. And there are struggles with being a content creator, not to the degree of regular heavy labor or even just most jobs are way more demanding than being a content creator. I'll leave it at that, right? However, there are things about being a content creator that, you probably don't think about, which is, this concept of being on, or for Julian's case, way more so than what like me or anyone that films YouTube videos would be, like a live broadcast. A live broadcast, there's this fear of you've got to be entertaining to, keep people's, engagement, and then that can bottle up. And when you're doing that every single day for hours upon hours upon hours, it is like having your own show. And, the same way that you would hear, people who host their own shows going through breakdowns where there's so much pressure to entertain and they feel it's so bottled up that they start to literally hate themselves, or they start to hate their voice or hate their appearance, or they no longer want to talk to people. It affects their social skills. Like, these are very things that happen in the content creation field. And again, I am very sympathetic to the fact that this is quite possibly, one of the most easy jobs that you could do, right? The struggles that come with many other jobs don't come with this one. And the struggles that come with this job, kind of, if not don't, relate to other ones. I'm very sympathetic towards that, which is why I never normally talk about things that I'm going through, because it's like, oh my God, I look at my brothers and I'm like, they work 10 times harder than I do. But I also don't think that people should write off content creators like Julien being able to be open about why they're struggling in their job, because at the end of the day, it is a job for these people as well. I also want to get that out of the way just first and foremost, because I know there's going to be people that'll be like, oh, it's the easiest job of ever, but it's important to note that while that can be true, you're also allowed to be open about your job and be transparent about your thoughts with it. So I just want to have that little addition.
Tank and refilling my cup is hard. And even days where I'm not streaming or I'm not online or I'm not working, life can just be a little bit of a relentless bitch and doesn't ever let up sometimes. And there's not exactly anything specific that makes that happen. It's just life. And I know all of you feel it because you're all living your life, and it's a human experience to struggle with that. And there's a lot of factors that I think that make it harder and inflame that sort of issue. But at the end of the day, it's when it's hard, it's hard. And there's not much you can just do. And taking breaks is great. I find that I've tried to have that internal monologue lately where I'm telling myself, it's okay, take a break. You don't have a boss telling you that you have to stream right now or whatever. And it's not lost on me how fortunate I am for that. But I sometimes find that to be a Band-Aid fix. And I also find that the more time I take off, the more I'm anxious to come back. It's weird. I don't know. And then you go through shit in life where it just bleeds over into everything. It's I don't know.
I think it's also probably very difficult for Julian to be a full-time content creator while living with someone who was a full-time content creator but now doesn't do that. So Julian's seeing the life of someone which is probably very much so improved when you're not, performing every day and stuff. And Jenna has like regular jobs and volunteers and stuff now, and he's currently in that hard place of trying to make a decision on what he wants to do with his life. I feel more so than any other content creator that's been open about this, he's literally in a situation where he's living with someone who was one of the biggest and isn't anymore, and probably has a completely different life. And then his life went from being so public together with Jenna to now being so private, and he's kind of on his own. I feel like this is why this is a very much so individual thing as well as a wide scale thing.
I've been seeing a lot of the discourse of YouTubers quitting too, and I think
Which has been happening.
there's a lot being said, and a lot of people are sort of looking at YouTubers in a different light now that a bunch of big ones are calling it. And I do think that conversation is a good thing to be had with like the internet publicly. I think people need to have this conversation and like understand the different sides of why a YouTuber feels the need to hang it up.
Also, it's a very new conversation. It's a very new conversation for people to experience. So for most people, they don't get it. But that's why I feel it's important for these content creators to have this open dialogue. And if anything, it just is important to be honest.
Going to speak for her, but Jenna hung it up. She called it, And I think a lot of people looking at someone quitting or retiring from a job like YouTube, they can form ideas in their head of like, okay, I think I understand why this person did that. And for the most part, and I'm talking to you guys, the people, support Jenna, you were, mostly were right. You listened to what she said. She was like, I'm done. I don't want to be online anymore. But I think it's hard for some people to imagine what a person goes through with years kind of compounded of doing something like that in such a public way. And you see a little bit of it, right? Like you see videos and you see posts and you see appearances, and it's the tip of the iceberg. But not only are you not seeing the all the other things that happen that make that machine run and that make it all possible, but like you also aren't experiencing the toll that someone has to pay. It reminds me of the show that I talk about all the time, and it's in a much different context in the show. So, apples and oranges, but in For All Mankind, they talk about how progress isn't free, and there's always a cost. You can't have true, meaningful progress without paying for it. And I think what people are starting to realize when they see creators like leave is what that cost looks like. And for different people, it is a different cost, But there's an overarching similarity with that cost. There's like a common denominator, which is like it's kind of part of your soul. You're kind of like giving a part of yourself to make yourself available in content for the world. And after doing that for a long time,
Okay, ambulance/fire alarm. I hope everyone's okay. I think that is an important conversation to have as well, which is, again, you can sit here all day and blab on about the fact that this is the easiest job of all time. It's also important to note that with content creators, because it's such a new phenomenon, it's this... I hope everything's okay, Jesus. It's this concept of, being on 24/7, and it's like, again, I'm always really sympathetic towards it because there's that, like, Michaela video where she's like, try being an influencer for a day. Like, that video where I'm like, oh my God, shut the fuck up. But as a content creator, especially one that does, like, live broadcasts, like, there is a kind of a built-in, you need to be live for as long as possible. And then when you're not live, you need to be sharing your life so that people are still interested in you and stuff. So what Julien is talking about here is these content creators who've been doing this for 20 years, 15 years, feel that they've given too much of themselves away, that they have nothing for themselves, and they just need to be like, I'm out. Like, I'm never doing this again. And that's the concept he's talking about, which is years and years and years of your job being yourself and solely yourself, burning yourself out completely and not even liking yourself anymore.
It can sometimes, I think, feel like you've forgotten what it feels like to just be a person. and you look inside of yourself and you don't see anyone. And that's a weird thing, because like your life and your soul and your personality and your hobbies and your likes, and that should be for you to enjoy too, you know? And when you give it all away because you're paying that cost, it's a feeling that I think makes people reconsider their choices. And a lot of the people who are stepping down on YouTube, which, you know, it's wonderful to see. Like, I really do think it's good to have this normalized.
Even just a conversation.
They're still appearing in, you know, in different ways. They're not just like gone, but like the theme I think remains the same, is that people are starting to see that like for a long time, they haven't just been like making content at their dream job and getting to be creative every day and everything's roses. It's like they have been slowly chipping away at their soul to provide the fuel for this machine. So I don't know. I was obviously, you know, she's my wife, so I was very adjacent when that transition happened from online to offline. So I was witness to a lot of like what that looked like, and I feel it for myself, and I see other people who I watch and I'm mutuals with on the internet feel it, and I see it manifest in different ways. So I don't know. Long-winded, I guess. I watched Marques's video and I love him, and I think he's very well spoken. And something that he said that I've been thinking about is when you start a creative job and it's starting to work, you get very excited and feel very grateful and very much like you're living the dream, because it is a dream job, but those are still jobs. And when you start, it can really feel fulfilling and creative, because all of what you're doing is just creating. And then as time goes on, and the natural way it goes is when you grow, the less and less creative things you're doing. You're kind of doing a lot of other things. And on top of that, you're donating your own energy and part of yourself to the content. And so after a while, you feel that. I think a lot of people are now, you know, a lot of the ones retiring from YouTube, they've been at this for a decade plus. So it's like, how could you not have a decade go by of that and not start to feel it in your soul? You don't want to leave, do you? I don't know. The question is almost reductive, because it's like, I love what I do. I love streaming. I love chatting with y'all. I love connecting with y'all. I love gaming. I love creating videos. I love cooking. I love travel. I love, you know, and I do feel so happy that I get to like have that as my career. So no, I don't want to leave, but some days I do. Some days I absolutely want to leave. You know, but I think that's also relatable for you guys. I think we all want to like just sign the fuck off sometimes. But I'm here. You know, it's been a tough week. It's been a tough week. And even though it's only been 2 streams this week, I am still proud that I'm able to like show up twice. You know, I have good weeks and bad weeks. We all do. I think like it's just the last couple of months have been a little hard. The holidays were hard for me. But it's okay. You know, it's highs and lows, and things level out, and you just gotta like the person going through the loss that we talked about. It's like short-term.
Listen, I think this is important to have just this open dialogue where he's saying how he feels. He's admitting that the job is, in a sense, a dream job, but is also admitting that, quite like anyone else, it's a job that you want to escape from sometimes. And how do you escape from a job that is you? You are the job, you know, you are the physical job. Like, how do you escape from that? Which is why, again, these content creators doing this for so many years just get so fed up with themselves. Like, they start to despise themselves because they have been the fuel job for so long. And again, I don't think Julien, or I don't think anyone who has these conversations, is null to the fact that for the majority of people, it sounds like, why are you complaining? This is the easiest thing of all time. And trust me, I've been in that same boat where I'm like, yeah, I agree with that. But I think the conversation just being normalized of allowing people to be open about their situation is more important than allowing people or telling people to be like, shut the fuck up. Let me know your opinion. Let's talk about it down below. I will see you in my next one. Au revoir.